Okay. Hello and welcome to Plugin Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugin Along, we took advantage of both Midsummer and Yule being active to update the Festival Buddy to barter window contents. And today we are going to return to the TitanBar maintenance file, which outlines what steps are necessary to add a new currency, which we've been updating as we've been simplifying the process. So we're going to see what else can we streamline, what else can we update here. As always, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions. And in the meantime, hello to people in chat. Hello, Skogotsi. Hello, Pamela. Okay, so let's go ahead and... So, one thing that Midsummer is very good at is giving us a way to test the spend it down to zero bug and the fix that I have recently put into place. It's very easy to earn Midsummer tokens. It's very easy to spend them. So, one thing that we had seen before is that TitanBar knows when you earn currencies or when you lose currencies, thanks to registering for a currency quantity change event. But what it wasn't saying was when a currency went to zero, or if a currency came back from zero, or it wasn't using those mechanisms because we don't get a currency changed event for those. We get a wallet item added or removed event instead. The way TitanBar got around this is every second it looks to see if the number of things in your wallet is different from what it remembers. And if it is, then it rescans everything in your wallet and uses that to kind of fill in the gaps. Now, of course, that's a problem if you, for instance, used your last badge of dishonor or your badge of taste from in the Gale Association. If you used your last one of those or last two of those to get a currency box that you then open really fast, or maybe a better example would be something else. But you traded one currency type for another currency type, if that's possible. The TitanBar would not see that necessarily because they both happen basically at the same time, and the number of currencies that you had, assuming you now have a new currency and you don't have the old one, that would remain unchanged. So it's a way of doing this that's subject to what we would call a race condition. If something happens fast enough or at the right time, you won't have the correct information. So what we would rather do, instead of rescanning the wallet once a second, or looking at the wallet size once a second, is instead just pay attention to the item added, item removed events. Now, it's quite possible when TitanBar was first written that those events didn't exist and they were added afterwards to satisfy community requests or something. TitanBar is a very old plugin at its root. And so when it doesn't do something that you would expect it to do, it's always reasonable to ask, was that even possible back in the day? I've just noticed my graphics in-game are very low, and I would like them to be higher. Oftentimes, if I'm switching back and forth between all of my characters on a server, I just set the graphics to lowest because my computer doesn't need to work that hard to make it pretty when I'm only going to be in the game for a second or two. Okay, so let's go. Let's get ourselves to Midsummer. Minas Tirith Midsummer, and then we'll take a look at the code changes that I did, and we'll demonstrate that they work. So, let's come on in. So I made a change while we were looking at Hobnanigans in the between time to a couple of these files, and we're going to see what changed and why we think it's going to work. Okay. So, okay, excellent. So the old system, and this was in FRM main. I want to call that form main. I'm not sure that's actually what that abbreviation means. Is that in a larger section of a one-timer update function, an all-timer update function, so it doesn't run once, it just keeps on running. And this is a useful thing, for instance, the clock. If the clock were showing seconds, this would be a way to update it once a second. It's not showing seconds, and so we can see if the old minute does not equal the current minute, then we do something to update the time. But if we've advanced a second, so we're getting called maybe 30 or 40 times a second, we only want to do this once a second, so that's nice, that's a nice throttling. Then if the size of the wallet has changed, then we should assume something's changed because it's inconsistent with what we know. So we reload everything by scanning through the player's wallet and getting details about all of it. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. It also checks to see if the size of the screen has changed. Now this is not the way I would recommend doing it. There are ways to detect if the size of the screen changes that don't require checking once a second, but it's out of scope for what we're working on right now, so we want to not get distracted. So that's still fine as well. So we didn't want to delete this all timer. It's doing useful things. We just don't want to look for the wallet. Instead, what we want to do is have the currency added and currency removed stubs that we put in before actually do something. And so when a currency is added, the args, there's an args.index parameter, and we can use that in the player wallet to see what is this thing that was just added. And then we can go ahead and call an update function that says, hey, we have this. So if a currency was just added, we haven't attached a quantity change callback to it yet. So we want to go ahead and add that with this function called add currency callback if needed. It checks to see if we already have one. If we don't already have one, then we go ahead and make one. Currency removed is pretty similar. This is called just before it's actually removed from the wallet, so we can still look in the wallet at the index given and see what is this thing, what is the name of it. We can go ahead and remove that callback from our list and set it to nil so that we know that that callback is dead, it's not going to work anymore. If a currency is removed and then added again, I would expect, though I haven't tested this, I would expect that any old callbacks attached to it will no longer work. Okay, so that's the basic idea. For a currency removed, we're going to go ahead and set the currency value to 0 and remove that callback. For currency added, we'll go ahead and add a callback and then update the currency with that whatever the value is. And a helper function there. And then finally, because I hadn't removed that update function, that all timer, it was continually firing once a second, and it was causing some problems. And I noticed that this function could be called when we were in an inconsistent state. So we just say if there's no actual, if we don't think we're handling this currency that we're just been told to handle, just stop trying. Just return 0. It's fine. We probably don't have any of that. So that was that change. So all that together combines into a fix that we hope is going to make this all better. So let's go up to the highest tables where we can spend some of these currencies. And I think we're going to collect some instruments. They're pretty. I just got to turn around. I did. My right mouse button is still glitching out on me. I think it is a hardware issue, not a software issue. And we can see I have 62. Excuse me. So I'm going to go buy 6 of the costing 10 instruments and then a firework, and that'll clear me out. All right, so instruments. Now, what do I have here? Summer. It's nice to have even numbers of things. So we're going to go ahead and get a summer celebration bassoon. And a fiddle. And a mountain harp. And now we have 3 of everything. That's good. So we can go ahead and start over at the beginning of the list with a lute and a horn and a clarinet. That takes us down to 2. Go ahead and toss that away. And then we're going to go back to fireworks and just get 1 of those. Awesome. So we can see on the TitanBar, our count has gone down to 0. Awesome. Toss that away. So we're doing things correctly so far. Next thing we want to do is go ahead and earn some. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and use my milestone. And we'll just go do the stable quest real fast. in here, as Little Redhead was demonstrating, we're going to pick up that quest, activate any speed boost we have. For a minstrel, that's not much, but we do get 10% for a few seconds with Call of the Second Age. And we'll get our brush and our apples. Cool. And we just go. We're looking for 6 horses overall, 2 on this side, 1 in the middle, 3 on the other side, and we are done. And what we're hoping to see is that when that item is added, TitanBar is going to get that item added callback and is going to use it to attach a callback to it so that we'll see future currency changes and update our the value on the bar as it is. So to test both of those things, we'll need to get another currency change happening. That's pretty easy to do. Because I've got the Fateful Toolkit on this character, instead of getting 3 tokens, I'm going to get 4, so I can go buy some fireworks and do it all over again. So, we can see our number did update to 4 there. So, in theory, that callback was successfully added, but we're going to find out. And the value is definitely updated. Sometimes I like the idea of following someone up this ramp, but most people cut the corner pretty tight, and unless you're really just on top of them, you'll get caught on the corner. Okay. And then we spend that, and we can see we were informed using the quantity change callback that instead of 4, we now have 2. Everything's working great. Could spend down to 0 again if I wanted to really test the whole loop. Darn you, right mouse button. Okay. Cool. So, that was the gist of these changes. We had documented this before. Spend down to 0 issue. TitanBar ignores the pass value in favor of looking in the wallet. It's probably not finding it. And in fact, the problem was the quantity change callback doesn't get called for things that are being added or removed from the wallet. That was an incorrect diagnosis. Okay. Midsummer Festival. Spend down tokens to 0. Make sure we see that final change. Done. Additional task. Character does not have a currency as a TitanBar. Well, we just did that. And then get some out. What happens? I didn't actually remove this from TitanBar, but I believe everything is working. Alright, we're not using the item added callback to attach a handler quantity change, except now we are. Okay, are we paying attention to the wall callbacks? We are now. I was reminded in the last 2 weeks that community member Fanshin was also on a quest to fix these currencies. And so I went ahead and started glancing at what they had done to see if we could get any inspiration. And of course, what they've done, there's a lot of overlap between what they've done and what we've done, because it's basically the same idea. How do we streamline this? How do we simplify it? How would we reduce the number of places where you have to make a vex? I'm still going to be paying more attention. I'm going to do a deeper dive into what they did and if there's anything else I have missed. But I did notice that there were some places where they kind of strayed away from trying to be as laser focused as possible on just currencies, just currencies, just currencies. For instance, there's one point, which I totally agree with, it's a change that needs to happen, where they started using a named constant instead of just 1, 2, or 3 for currency locations of on the bar, on the tooltip, or not anywhere, hidden. Oh, that reminds me, I would like to bring in a save file that uses the currencies a little bit more fully on the TitanBar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, Plugin Data, and delete that in favor of one that I have saved. So, nope. Okay. So, Documents, Plugin Along Data, and let's see. Every currency on the bar. There we go. So we're going to copy that over and bring this on in. Yeah, there we go. So now every currency that TitanBar knows about right now is on the bar, which gives us a little bit more fuller testing of what we're doing and making sure we haven't introduced any bugs. Cool. So done with that. Done with that. Okay. So I'm gonna keep looking at this, but I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on stream here today on that. Instead, the next thought I had was we have these this problem here, and these two are related. Every currency has two main keys associated, MC and mithril coins, for example, or YT maybe for Yule Festival token. And we have a table, a lookup table that can go back and forth. But it'd be nice if we just, stopped using that all the time, everywhere. So instead of searching in quotes, I'm going to search for it as a word. Let's see, how will that affect things? Yeah, I don't necessarily... What's going on? Yeah, I don't want to find anything else. Oh, it's MMC. Is it? I thought coin is MMC. Oh, that's fantastic. No, that's in the to-do file. I should not pay attention to the to-do file. Where else do I see it? Stop it. Yeah, MCB I don't want, MCL, I don't really want any of those. I'm really just looking for places where it's MC, I think. So, let's look for whole word only MC. So, okay, first problem is the global variable is still named that old thing. Okay. I do kind of want that to-do file. Alright. Places to change. The global variable is still named things like G, MC, G dot, whatever. SM, and so on. Okay. What else? Well, we're getting it in change color. So functions.lua change color takes keys like MC as T color. Where else do we see it? Oh, that's the same one. Okay, adjust icon. This is also in functions. Lua functions that take keys like MC as parameter. And then I'll just list the parameter that I'm concerned with. Although in this case it is trivially the only parameter. Alright, I'm done with the maintenance file for a minute. Just a moment. Alright, I feel like spring is happening, although it is close to summer, so maybe it's summer that's happening. Alright, I've got another one of the global variables here. And actually, this is actually a really good example of adjust icon. This might be easier to fix after adjust icon is fixed. Next. Functions .lua adjust icon needs to handle currencies in a loop. Cool. And is that true about change color as well? Yes. So both of those might very well be easier. Okay, so that is change color. Cool. Where else? Currency code to key. Obviously, this lookup table and its pair currency key to code will be trivially replaced with nothing. We won't actually need it. But actually, that's a good point. Any place we're using currency code to key or currency key to code. We're going to want to take a look at those and see why they're using it. Okay. And then finally, all uses of the global S from control, which is just a global variable that says the control what is making the thing do whatever. So for instance, if we click on one of these things, right click. When we right click, we go ahead and set that global variable and then say, hey, call this thing, and then it uses that global variable. I'm not a big fan of that method of doing things because a global variable feels like there are race conditions, feels like it pollutes the global namespace, all of these things, but it's not what we're trying to work with right now, so it's not a problem I'm going to fix. But I do look at that and think, why is that? What are we doing here? Okay, so let's instead go into change color and adjust icon, and those are what we'll be starting with today. We'll see where we go from there. Okay, so we're in functions.lua. Let's pin that. Okay. And we are in change color. Okay, so anywhere where we are already using the show table as a lookup is ripe for what we're about to do. So what I'm going to do is double check our source code to make sure, yep, okay, we're going to go ahead and do file changes. We're just going to go ahead and commit that. And then we have a clean working directory. It's going to be way easier to fix any mistakes we make, we hope. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hoist up anything that is not a currency. Actually, we'll probably do currencies first to match other things that we've done. So it'll look more like that. And then we'll just replace this with a loop, is the hope. Okay, same thing down here, though. Let's go ahead and make this a little bigger. Yeah, that didn't work. Let's go ahead and split this, let's say, down. And down here, we want to do kind of the same thing, where it's a little bit less obvious that we can do it. So we're going to use these codes here, or keys. I can't remember what I called which, but I'm sure it made sense at the time. So wallet, money, destiny points, shards, skirmish marks, mithril coins, Yule tokens, Hibble tokens, MP, yeah. And we can be looking at whatever is just left of that control. Okay, so MP, where were we? Yep, SL. CP, cool. Okay, that's where the backpath starts. And in fact, it might be exactly the same order as before. Sorry, I accidentally activated some virtual desktop stuff, and I don't do that very often. Okay, so bag info, yeah, we can see down here that we can expect same stuff. In fact, let's go ahead and raise this up. Bag info, player info, equip info, durability, track items, infamy, and so on. That all looks great. SSBK, DM, RP, great. So we're going to pull up LOTRO points. there. And what else do we have? PL and GT. And then the rest of these should be currencies as well. Cool. Let's take a look at that in the change. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then over here, 13 there as well. So that is pretty convincing that we have moved what we needed to move. Now, the other question is, how many of these things do we have? Let's see. Cool. Let's grab that. Does it tell me how many lines I have selected there? I'm not sure. But Sublime Text says there's 28 lines there. Cool. Really a little one. What's up, little cat? Yeah. Yes, you are wet. Is it raining out there still? All right. Well, at least there's a reason for it. Okay. So change color then has two different places here. AF background W to all, okay, or BGW to all, otherwise not. Okay. So what is T color? T color is just the color that's being changed. It looks like we're calling setback color with it. So what we're really curious about is what is the thing that is being shown. For each thing that's being shown, set the background. And what does that look like, really? Set back color. Okay, so there's a set background color. Reset back color of all controls. Okay, set back color. Apply color to all elements. Okay, cool. So if I went and did this, oh, as I'm hovering over it, cool. We can see that. Whereas if we don't do that, you can see how it's the background of the TitanBar, but not each of the elements. Fascinating. Or transparent, apparently. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's hideous, but it's kind of cool. So we're going to reset the back color of all controls. That did not work. Or really it did, but the back color we're going to undo transparent. And default. Okay, now it's all the same. Cool. I haven't put around to the background color very much, but it's pretty cool that it's an option. Little Redhead messages to Pamela Ella. By the way, I was wearing the completed cardigan during my stream today. Yes, Little Redhead has recently knitted a cardigan and it's looking pretty good. Okay. So, it's been a couple of weeks since we last did this. So, how do we go ahead and do one of these loops? Fantastic. That sure looks plausible to me. Let's go ahead and do a search. Alright, so handling the currencies. We go ahead and loop through each of the things in I-pair currencies. Well, what is that? That is this. This is the table. And currently it's stored in code, but the idea eventually is that this is the default value for what gets saved into your save file. This could even be account-wide. It could be for all of them. And these are the currencies that TitanBar would offer for you in this menu when you interact with it. So this should be customizable. You should be able to add new ones. Okay, so in that currencies, we're going to iterate through each one of them, and we're going to do stuff. Cool. Let's give that a try. So if show of the key, then we're going to do a thing. Okay, so we do know that we need that currency key to code. We need that code. So where is that? That is in settings. Yeah, okay. So we have wallet, we have money, we need these codes here. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. So var local code equals currency key to code of key. Now, some people really like the coding convention where you put the return value on the left side of the function name and the parameter that you're passing on the right side. And that would have looked like local code equals currency code from key of key. And that's a totally fine way to write this. And you can see how it keeps like things would like, right? Like key on the right, code on the left. And in fact, if you were using this all the time, you might even see code equals code from key of key. And then it becomes really obvious if you write something like key equals key from code, code from key of code, right? The idea is to make it, like if you're doing code reviews at your company, is to make it very obvious that you have assigned a code to a key and you're passing a code to something that expects a key, and that's just not going to work, right? Like that is a broken function, table reference in this case, but that's a broken function call. It's a broken use of code. And so what you really want to do is have some sort of standard. I find it a little clunky personally, probably mostly because I'm not used to it. So I have resisted doing something from this, and I keep using this something to something. But it does make you swap what you're looking at, right? Key to code, you're passing in the key, you're getting the code. You just got to read it differently. So if you're just sort of getting started and want a personal convention, you could do a lot worse than the X from Y way of writing these things. And that could be a function as well, right? Like local code equals code from key, passing it in key as a parameter. The important thing is just the locality of it. Code, key, cool, we're probably doing the right thing. Code, key, code, oops, probably a problem there. Especially when you're using terms like code and key, which are for all intents and purposes synonyms in here. And I just use them to distinguish that short thing from the long thing, because I needed something temporarily, because again, we're going to be deleting this code thing from the code base as soon as possible. Okay, so we have the code. So what else do we need? Local table equals global of code. And we can then call control equals table CTR. We can do that if we want. And control set back color of T color. We can do that as well. So do we need to do all of this? Well, we could combine it into a single line, right? We don't need to break it out like that. So that would be G of code control set back color. That's fine. That's fine too, probably. We'll see if I regret my life choices, or at least my code choices. Okay, so we have global of the code. So again, currency key to code. We have Yule token. We're getting YT. So we're getting the global entry of YT control set back color. And that would equate to this right here, YT control setback color. Do any of these lines of code do anything different? Well, let's take a look at that. Let's bring that on in. We'll go ahead and outdent everything. And then we're going to go ahead and find all the uses of that control. Whoops. We're going to delete whatever comes before it. And then we're just going to say, hey, is this exactly, well, okay. We need the show. Cool. Is this the same for all of them? And the answer is yes. All of them are the same except for those two pieces of information. So we can feel confident that we didn't miss any edge cases. Okay, so we come on in here and delete that. Now that was the background to all. So if we've just seen how to do this. So if we reload TitanBar, and then we do set back color, apply to all elements, we can see it's still working. Everything's doing great. And then we're going to go to default, and nope, still default. I just want to close that. Cool. So we can see that part's working. And then the from issues are, if we go ahead and right click and change the back color of this control, we're going to go ahead and default. We can see that it is just affecting up here. Now the funny thing is, if I am wondering if change that S from, okay, when this one was created, it might have saved that off. Okay. So we're just going to hit default. That's the other half of this. So if S from equals something. Now, we can do pretty much the same thing, though. We're going to go ahead and iterate through all of the currencies. Check currencies. Whoops, outdent. So if, and we're doing something different here. So we need the code first. So we're getting that code, and then if S from equals the code, then G of code, and the rest of this is identical. End. So instead of do I like doing this all in one? Nah, let's go ahead and space it out. So we have the S from, so we need to get the code from, oh no, we have S from. Yes, okay. Now, we can do this simpler, though. Yes, hang on. We have the control here. Oh, man. I don't want to change too much, but this is just ridiculous. Okay, gotta check something. I don't want to use my squishy human eyes to double check this. I'm going to try and get a computer to verify that this is okay. So, what we want to do is all of those S froms, we're going to delete that. And then all of that middle thing. In fact, hang on a sec. Yeah, let's just do an Excel formula. If that equals that equal not equal. Cool, and then we'll just stick that into Excel. We do need an equals at the beginning. That's not going to do it. Sure, let's try that out. Can I do this? Really? What have I done wrong? Sure. Tell me what I did wrong. Possible that space was a problem. Let's bring this back in. Sure, I don't need a space before and after that. And then, is this identical? Yeah, sure. And we'll go ahead and replace all the ifs with capital. Sure. Okay, the only ones we're seeing... What's going on with that? The one after TI? Oh, it's actually if. That's going to mess everything up. We're just going to ignore that. Everything else is equal. Money is the only problem here. We can see that. Cool. Glad I checked. Okay, so if S from equals money, why would S from ever be equal to money? I don't know. S from can sometimes be money instead of MI. Why? Cool. No, I don't need that. Okay, what's going on with that? Let's see if we can find where that's coming from and get sidetracked, huh? That's checking double equals. Oh, that's interesting. Did I maybe break that? No, we still have a money control. I think. Let's go double check this. Controls, money, yeah, S from. S from is actually MI. Okay, so those places where S from control, if we're checking for money, that is wrong. Okay, so S from dot star money. Okay, cool. Let's kill that. And then I am curious where else we're using money. Money equals money, money equals to mine. That's all fine. But the where... Interesting. Yeah, okay. We'll come back to that. Just to demonstrate the problem, let's come on in here. If it is even, yeah, okay. Let's get money on TitanBar, and let's slide it on over to the right. So if I go ahead and say change the back color of this, we can see it's not currently working. Not causing a problem, just not working because of that use of the global variable. But if we go ahead and reload this, and then come in and change the back color of this control, we can see it's now working. Okay, so fixed a bug, awesome. So let's go ahead and actually submit that as its own little thing. Fixed incorrect code for money. And then the rest of this should be more straightforward. Okay, so where are we? Change color. So what we really want to do is if s from equals something. No, we don't. What we really care is if it is wi, then use wi. If it's yt, then use yt, and so on. So what we really just care about is if the global of s from, we don't even need a loop for this, if the global of s from, then global of s from, just make sure it exists before we start trying to dereference it. Well, look up the entry in the table. End. And that's actually good for all of these things, I think. And again, I don't like making changes beyond, but that is actually going to affect every single one of those, I think. Now we can check that with a different save file. Actually, let's start making a different save file that lets us test everything but the wallet controls. And to do that, we're going to come into Lord of the Rings Online, go into our plugin data, and we're actually going to delete that so that when we start up TitanBar, we don't have all those currencies on there to deal with. Instead, what we want is everything but the wallet, and we're going to go ahead and just move things around. So actually, maybe we'll do them one at a time so I can keep track of them. Okay, so reputation, slide it on over. Day and night, cool, slide it on over. I don't actually need money at the moment. Shared storage, slide on over. I know I do. Vault, slide on over. Time, that's actually over there, but I'm going to put them in order for this save file. Renown, slide on over. Nothing. Track items. Oh, that's fascinating. I wonder if this would be useful. Sure, let's... Nope, don't do that. How do you use this? Oh, it's hovering over. Fascinating. All right, that's cool. It's a whole part of the plugin I didn't know existed. Player location. Intro city. No. Durability. Equipment. Yep. Player info. And finally, backpack infos. Okay, so what we're going to do from here is we're just going to do a quick reload, make sure everything still looks the same. It does. And we're going to go ahead and unload TitanBar so that we can go ahead and save this off so we don't have to do it again. So, documents, plugin along, save data. Everything not the currency on bar. And we're going to save that off by, in plugin data, we're just going to copy this over. Perfect. So, what was the point of all that? Because I want to test how the background is working here. So we're going to come in and do the exact same thing that we did before. We're going to come into set back color. And we can see the background of the bar is doing great. And if we apply to all the elements, we can see the background of each of those elements also looks good. Very cool. Now, if I set that transparency to 100, cool. And then if I set that to all the items, nice. Okay, so default. Okay, so the default button also seems to apply to all the things as well. Black, transparent. Cool, okay. So we know it's behaving well. So if we come on in here and replace that with, if the thing exists, then that thing's control set the background color, and just delete that. Fantastic. And the other reason we can't do the same here is because for right now, only currencies are in the global show table. That's a future enhancement to go ahead and incorporate everything that way. And if we did that, then this part would also be basically this one loop. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and make sure we've saved. I'll save as, nope, all good. And then go ahead and reload. And what we want to see is that we get that same thing here as well. And so if we apply to all elements, everything is still changing its background just fine. If we go to transparent, if we go to black, if we go to default, skipping everything and just going for the bar. Cool. Shoop, shoop, shoop. Then we haven't broken anything by including more than we would have meant. Okay. Now this is the place. If S from was not TitanBar but instead of TB, that would also be covered by this check. But not a currency, so we'll deal with that later. Okay, so that is how we fix change color for now. Very cool. Let's go ahead and commit that in. What are some of our recent ones? All right, used loop for change color. Currencies in change color. Very cool. And we're just going to use beyond compare to double check what we are committing here. And we can see these are all wallet things, wallet, more wallet, and the same here. Awesome. So let's go ahead and commit that and do the same to the next thing we identified. I'm going to get out of the people's way though. Looks cooler from up here anyway. Okay, the next one was adjust icon, and it's going to look really similar. So we have some special stuff for wallet. Actually, I don't know if wallet is special. MI is definitely special. What we can see WI is going straight for TB icon size, control height, TB icon size. Okay. So that's control set size here. Let's look though at all the other ones. So much code. I'm going to delete so much of this. Okay, so we want to do the same thing where we want to isolate the wallet specific ones that are generic. And so starting with destiny points. And in fact, let's take a look at this. Okay. Wallet and money, we're going to start with that. So destiny points, shards. Why is that SP? I don't know. Skirmish marks, mythical coins, Yule tokens, hitbolt tokens, medallions, seals, and commendations. Cool. Then we're going to take bag info, PIEI, DI, IF, VT, SS, the no longer used bank. Deleting that's on my to-do list, but it's out of scope for this. Moving it underneath LP. Then we also have the rest of this, ending with BOD. Fantastic. We need it to be inside that end, or else it is not going to format correctly. Cool. So what we want to do is respect right now that the wallet icon itself is special and money is special. Otherwise, else if, and let's go ahead and grab the key from code. So local key equals currency key code to key. I'm going to pass an str. So we have that. So else if currencies of key, then handle currencies, handle generic currencies. Because again, WI and MI are in there, but we're not going to deal with them. Okay, I'm curious if LOTRO points looks pretty much the same. It does look pretty much the same. Okay, so what we want to do is get a sense of what's the same and what's different about all of these. If they're all identical, that makes life much easier, of course. But where it gets tricky is if we start needing to adapt. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull all of that into a Sublime text buffer, so that we can start doing meaningful things. So for instance, if I do this, we can see there's 26 regions, our normal 28 minus money and wallet item. And then we're going to go ahead and look for set stretch mode. Now I actually find too many, so let's just do the whole line. We can see 26 lines where set stretch mode is being used. Just a moment. Cool. Okay, so we've got 26 places that are identical here, except for the thing that comes before them. Awesome. And again, we have, if the string is SP, then do stuff in SP. If the string is SM, then do stuff in SM. If the string is MC, do stuff in MC. So we're gonna parameterize all of that. But we can double check and we can see, cool. We do want to go ahead and do local table equals G of key. No, code. That might make life a little bit easier, but code is, of course, str because. So we're going to come in here and get table. Don't want all of those, thank you. Okay, so table's icon we're setting to set stretch mode to 1. Okay. Let's go ahead and kill all of those. Next thing, set position. We would like to know if these are all the same, and we have. Oh yes, we have 26 set positions. So I think the next thing might be to just look at them. Oh, actually, set stretch mode is going to be easier. Let's look at those. We have 26 of those. So we're going to want to go ahead and, at the end of this table, icon set stretch mode to 3. So it's just in here that we're doing stuff. But that's fine. One more thing done. This icon set size, I think it might be reasonable to say, hey, are those all the same? Yes, they are. Okay. So that's table of icon set size to those things. And they came from here, so they must be available. Default is 32. Sounds good. Okay, so for that, we're going to go ahead and reselect all of those and defeat those. Okay, so the rest of this, how do we tell if it's the same or not? So the first thing I would do is, like I said, let's go ahead and pull these all off into their own buffer so they can manipulate things freely. And let's try to make things a little bit more self-similar. So we're going to select everything with a space there and get rid of it. We're going to select all the ones that end with a space there, get rid of that space there. Okay, so we have more similarities. Actually, I would just get rid of all the spaces for a moment. Okay. And then any place where we have set position, let's go ahead and kill the code behind it. And any place where we have set position, let's go ahead and kill the code right after it. And anytime when we have get left plus, let's kill the code after that. And then we can see there are just a couple of differences on width. So if we ignore everything else, we can see 26 identical things. We can see there are just a couple that don't use the basic. So let's think about that. Where are we going to put this thing? Local currency. These are widths and heights. Currency width. Sure. Custom currency widths equals. We're going to set a table up there, and local custom currency heights equals that. Local width equals. Oh, actually, we need offsets. Yeah, okay, so local width offset equals, and we can see most of these are +3 equals 3. Then if custom currency width offset of the key, then width offset equals that. Now, we can simplify this. We've seen before. This is spelling it out completely. Here's the value, and if this exists, use that instead. But we can combine all that together into a single width offset equals this or 3. Use this if it's not null, or if it evaluates to truthy. Otherwise, use this. So that's what we're going to do with it, make it a little bit simpler. And we'll do the same thing with height offset. So height offset, we're going to do that, or 0. And then the key is just adding in our custom values. So we can see why here, we're going to just go ahead and delete that. And we can see the only one we care about, whoopsie, I deleted everything. So let's find y plus 1 in our unmodified version. And we can see that is for LP. Yeah, fair enough. So, LOTRO points equals whatever I said it was. +1 equals 1. There we go. So that handles that one offset right there. The rest of them normally is get width +3. So we're going to go ahead and delete those and just deal with the other ones. And we can see there's just a couple that we need to deal with. So let's start at the top and see if we can reverse engineer this. Okay, so we can see destiny points. And the fact that it's the very first one and it does something different kind of makes me wonder if that was intentional, but that's a problem for later. And we know that that is going to be 0. The next one we were looking at was get width -2. And that is going to be SP, shards. And the last one is going to be a +2. And that's going to be LP again. +2. Awesome. So now we have all of our exceptions that make this not all identical code. And we can go ahead and fix that syntax error. Okay, so we have the width offset, which equals the entry in here if it exists, or free or 0 for those. And then we want to go ahead and pull in what these look like. So we're going to start with redoing DP as table. Okay, so we have the get left plus the get width plus the width offset. And then we have y plus the y offset, the height offset. Okay, this might be a little bit easier though if we split it out into 2 lines. And why is all necessary? We have a control where we have usually stuff on the left and then the icon on the right. And so we're setting the position of that icon equal to the left part of the label plus the width of the label plus however much space we want between them, and then normally just the y plus the offset. Cool. And then we have a table control set size. These were all the same, yeah? Oh, we haven't done it yet. Same thing. Let's come on in here. Let's find all those references to the keys and see if there's anything else. And we can see those are all almost the same. Interesting. Nope, okay. I see all 26 regions are identical. Cool. So let's go ahead and grab one of those. And again, we're using table here, table there. Oh, we already had it. Cool. Step size, table of icon get left plus the size. Oh, we're setting the control. Yeah. To its left thing plus its size and then the height. That's all great. So we don't need those, we don't need that. And that's our updated currencies with some exceptions for offsets for width and height. And then that means we can get rid of every single currency section here. And again, this would work almost identically for any of the others. Handle non-currencies. But we're going to hold off on those for now. But just be aware we could genericize this even more, and we will. We will. Okay. So what's going on up here? Oh, the wallet control, of course, does not have any text. And it might be possible to do something a little bit, roll this into the generic currency things, but I think it's fine to handle WI separately, to handle MI separately, wallet and money, and then for every other of the 26 currencies, we can just handle them in this block right here. customizing icon positions goes here. And then handle generic currencies there. Awesome. Okay. Do we think it works? Well, where are we? Adjust icon. I don't know when adjust icon gets called. Okay, it gets called from update. So if the currency changes. Now we should see it just from being able to reload the plugin. Everything is saved. Let's go ahead and give it a reload. Everything. Aha! There's an error. Functions 821. Cool. I did write that as a function call instead of a table access, didn't I? That will not work. All right, while we look at that, I'm just going to swap my water glass. Cool. Okay, everything here looks good. We're going to go ahead and unload and then swap back to the currencies save file. Great. And then reload TitanBar. So what we're seeing here is it doesn't work. I mean, it looks kind of cool, but it's definitely not what it's supposed to be. So let's dig into what went wrong, because that's wrong. Okay, so what did we change? Well, first of all, with the key, let's make sure our key and string values are correct. That would be the easiest thing to get wrong, right? So turbine.shell.writeLine key, dump the key, code, dump the string. Okay, wallet, destiny points, shards. Okay, all of these look great. So wasn't that? Probably. Handling icon 4. Let's see it handle that. That's the problem. We're not getting into here. So what's going on here? Currencies. We need this. Oh, of course. We're not. The key's not right for that either. Local. Code to key is what we need. We have a code to key. So why doesn't it work? Medallions, sure. Else if. Yep, medallions. Alright, don't delete statements that you're not ready to delete. Okay, so something's wrong with our else if statement here. Because we're not going in there to execute that code. Of course, currencies doesn't work that way. These are all implicitly numerically indexed. 1 equals wallet, 2 equals money. We cannot look it up that way. So that makes me wonder, how have I done this before? Okay. So we want to go ahead and iterate through all of the currencies, excluding, perhaps, those two. And then otherwise do that. Okay, so try to handle as a currency first. Excuse me. Actually, would it be better to do something else? What I really care about is it a currency? Do I have is currency? I do not have an is currency. Not with that case anyway. I mean, if it exists in these lookup tables, then it's a currency. I am trying to get rid of those lookup tables, but that would be a shortcut. We have the key here. The key was that if key. Of course, key is currency code to key. That could be nil if it's not one of those. So if we've handled W, if we've handled MI, then this key should be good. There we go. Key handling, key handling, key handling, key handling. And everything is now drawn correctly. So, perfect. That will work for our purposes. Well, I'm very glad not to be rewriting any of that. Okay, so the other thing we want to do, again, we're going to go ahead and unload here, and then we're going to swap in those other save files, make sure we didn't break anything there. Copy that, and get TitanBar back in here. And everything looks good there as well. Specifically the icons, which is what we were worried about breaking. All right, all that's back. Cool. Bug fixed. Let's go ahead and look in our source control here and see what we've changed. And we can go ahead and update our to-do file as well. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and do a loop. And we're going to go ahead and isolate that up here. Okay, so all of that's removed. We have this. No need to change that. White space at the moment. Fix that later. Same thing with this white space. Fewer changes makes for a cleaner diff. Okay, so we're staging that. All that looks great. All of that looks great. Bam. Use loop for currencies and adjust icon. Yes, please. Okay, so what do we have here? We have deleted a bunch of code. My favorite thing to do, if possible. And while we're in here, we could just look for more of those things. For instance, if I search for LP, we have more of them. That's actually okay. Let's find a different one. Let's search for ASP, for instance. Oh, that's actually looking really good. Okay. SP. And let's just search for that. Awesome. That's great. Yeah. We'll search for the whole thing. Cool. So we're doing really well at getting rid of some of these things. There are some update functions that we couldn't eliminate yet because they're more complicated, like update LOTRO points, but the update currency generic function was great. I'm just going to scroll through here, see if I see anything else that looks suspicious. That's an interesting one. Let's find all the references to icon like that and see if anything new pops up. Okay, that's all looking good. I would say functions is looking a lot better. Let's go into our maintenance manual here and see what else we might be missing. Functions.lua. For each point after this, search the files and every time that existing currencies are listed, add the new currency. Well, that seems to be done. LP is still there, but that's it. WI is probably going to still be there. Yeah, let's just search for case and whole word. Yeah, but skirmish marks, done. So I think that's safe to get rid of that. Add currency in settings.lua, currencies and other lookup tables. Let's go look at settings.lua. Let's see what's there. We're here. Let's look up SM. Awesome. Things are looking really good there. Currencies and other lookup tables. Okay, currencies. And we are now looping through that in a lot of places, so that's probably really helping us not find any of this. I'm going to see a lot of duplicated code here. We're going to be able to circle back around and really improve some other places as well. Awesome. So, add new currencies. Nope. And nope. Add a new control. That is beyond what we're working on. We're just working with add a new currency here. I'm going to add a new line there. Maybe two. One, two. I won't do that. That's fine. Okay. We want... What is a wallet currency control? Let's find it. Yeah. I wanted to get rid of those tooltips, and the singular / plural versions of the different currencies stymied me in a way that I wasn't pleased with. We'll deal with that later. Okay. Let's at least update the wording. Search for that and add the new currency to the end of the list. You need 2 for each currency. The first one starts with an M. Nope. The first is the name of the currency in that language. Yeah. For instance, the second is the tool for that currency with the currency pluralized. Okay. Hey, little one. Okay. Yeah. Normally the first level each word of each currency. Nope. The second one starts normally with the first letter and an 8. Nope. Check if you want abbreviation to use. It's already been used. Nope. The name behind the first, it has to be him in the game, and most times singular, otherwise it won't work. Yes. Note. No, important's fine. The name must match the name in the game. And most times be singular, otherwise TitanBar can't find it. Okay. Currency in main.lua should move to a settings initialization function if you have no save file. Yes, I like it. Search for player line equals 1. Yeah, okay. Add custom currency to import if your currency needs to do something special. And add currency in the images. Okay, we're really close to genericizing this. Let's go ahead and double check our... Okay. Maintenance. Updates. Zardan asks, how did you decide on the order in which different currencies are placed on the top of the screen? Can it be changed? Can you clarify whether you mean the positions of them on the bar or the positions of them in this wallet listing? If it's the bar, you can just drag them wherever you want to. I just pretty much did it in order of adding them through the list. If the question is for the window, that is actually one of the things we're trying to work on here, is to make it more customizable for the user to order or remove items from this list. But for the things up here at the top, it was just adding them and then finding space for them. Okay. Lizardin says it's nice. Well, I hope so. So, a thing that we want to do is... Do I care about this window at all? A question that I've had in the past is, should we bother allowing someone to add a currency they do not currently have? If we do not do that, if we restrict it just to currencies that are currently in your wallet, can show up in this list, then that makes life easier. If we want people to be able to track something before they have it, then that makes things harder. Score in chat says, hi, what is your favorite class? My favorite class in Lord of the Rings Online is Minstrel. Affodil, my character here, is a Minstrel. And Affodil, being a Minstrel, satisfies the two things that I'm really looking for in a MMORPG right now, is ranged attacking and being able to run around while I'm in combat without negatively impacting my damage, or DPS. And something Minstrels are great at is all of their offensive powers do not have any inductions or any progress bars before they complete. Heals do. If you're healing as a Minstrel, you're going to have to deal with induction bars. But in combat, if I just want to run around like a chicken with my head cut off, there's no problem. It does not negatively impact my damage because it's built into the class that none of the offensive things have induction bars. And all but one, maybe two of their abilities are ranged. Dissonant Strike is a melee skill. Can't think of any others. Why do I have a snake? Yes, or ask DPS or healer. Well, I really love the DPS side of things, but I like being able to jump into the healing role when that's necessary. So I play with a group regularly on the weekend, and if we're doing an instance, I like the fact that I can just fulfill the healing role of our group if that's helpful. Zardan says, Minstrel is theirs as well. Self-sufficient class, yeah. Score says, I never played Mini. Yes, Zardan says, Minstrels can yell at mobs and they die from that. Yeah, they get shamed or something. I mean, we're demoralizing them, of course, in the vernacular of Lord of the Rings Online, right? So I can shout things at them like, you're terrible at fighting, and then they feel bad and they go home. Stuff like that. Sauron's a terrible leader. Don't follow him. Oh, okay. Of course, has never played a mini. Yeah, if you like ranged combat, then Minstrels, for me, are a lot of fun. And if you dislike induction bars, then Minstrels don't have any for combat. And by those powers combined, my favorite class. Score says, I love Runekeeper. That's fair enough. I've played around a little bit with Runekeepers and dropping runestones and seeing everything just die. And I gotta say, there's a lot to be said for that aesthetic. So I am considering whether we've reached a good breaking point for today or if we want to do anything else. Because the next thing is really starting to implement the new system where there's an add button or something, or really where the contents of this window are no longer determined by a preset list, but we just imitate your wallet window in some fashion. A trick is there an easy way to sort wallet items into categories? I don't know if there is, because if I just presented this as a list, that'd be kind of inconvenient. I wonder if you can get the min-max of a currency. I bet you can. Hang on. Alright, so if we go into gameplay, into the API documentation, look at the wallet item, max quantity, yes. Other thing I was thinking of were different filtering options. Um, where did I put my notes? I thought I had notes about what how I wanted to do that. I can't find them, so wallet window notes. Um, possible filters at the top. Currencies with a cap. Currencies close to their cap. Is there a way to see if it's going to be green or red? Like, it's a count item? Yes. Account-wide currencies. Personal currencies or both. Zardan thinks, I think they should add universal optional craft ingredients as currency too, just like with ingredient packs. I hear that. I think I have to disagree for the ones that are not bound to an account. You can get universal crafting, I think. I thought you could get some of these. If it is possible to have these that are not bound to an account, then I disagree for those. However, all of mine are bound to an account, so I agree with you. It was just if you could trade those to other people. Yeah, I could totally see that becoming a universal a crafting ingredient item just like these. Maybe they were worried that people wouldn't realize they were getting them or something. I've certainly had that be a problem where I thought I was redeeming a store code for one of those that went into my inventory, and instead of I was redeeming a store code for the universal ingredient packs that go straight into the wallet, and I did the thing, and it said you received the thing, and I was like, no, I didn't. It's not here, and it took me too long to overcome that disconnect and realize, oh yeah, no, it is here. Excuse me. But yeah, Lazardon, I think that would be nice. Although I am guilty of having too many carry-alls, and so I do just shove them into my critical item carry-all, and then I don't worry about it. What the? You're not a crit item. Anything else sneak in here? No. Okay. Okay, so I think how I envision this window is listing everything over here and having a lookup table for, if necessary, for what category it goes into. But I think we do not. We have description. We have image. I'm curious about what the description is. We have max quantity with the name, quantity, small image. Interesting. That's very interesting. And is a count item. So we don't see a category. Now, sometimes what I'd like to do is go to look at the LOTRO companion data dumps and see, can I find something useful there to just to pre-create a list, a lookup table or something. So I'm going to go poke around at a couple of these. Yes, Lizard, and we are Carry All Lovers family. Is that cat still behind me? No, he's sitting on the back of Little Redhead's chair. You look like you're almost asleep. But then I'm talking at you, waking you up. Okay, so let's go take a look at anniversary token. What do we see here? And then badge of taste. Actually, I am curious. Nope. I am curious if there's any plurals, like badges of taste. No. Let me make a note about that. Okay, note made. Badge of taste. Let's go ahead and copy that out. What we're really looking for are similarities. Badge of dishonor. And then a couple of account-wide ones. Sure. Gift. Giver's brand. Heroes. Marks. And Mark of the Wild. Oh, I got to ask, is your reference to the plugin API an offline one? Yes, it is. I wanted to have it always available, even when I was offline or traveling or something. And yes, the one at the LOTROinterface.com was down for a little while. There was some sort of internal error, but one of the maintainers of LOTRO Interface was poked, and that has been fixed. But yeah, I definitely did download that at some point, and there's a key to that, like the SSG U25 Lua documentation in my local file system. So definitely recommend it if you're doing this. Actually, the other reason I did that is I am more used to and prefer the layout of this downloadable one than the one on the wiki. I just find the one on the wiki a little bit more cumbersome to use, and I think that's just a side effect of its Web 1.0 design style, right? Like very static pagey. The one thing I will say is that it's a lot better at listing the actual values for enumerations. So if you really want to know what the underlying values are instead of just free people, monster play, and undefined, the wiki one is great for that. Much better. If I come on in here to whatever random thing I just clicked on, that was gameplay alignment. Okay. Yeah, in here you don't get those values. And sometimes I just really want them. There it says, let me clear my cache. Yeah, definitely. Whatever the problem was, it has been fixed. Or had been fixed last I checked. No, it was just there. Ah. Where Andreas says, LC doesn't use the plurals, but they are in the data, so it's easy to get them. Yeah, the thing is that LC doesn't currently put them in the data dump, I don't think. And I would love to have them, because then I could get rid of that whole tooltip customization thing, or at least for the way the tooltips currently are. Okay, so we have names of things, we have icons of things, we have levels, don't care about that. Category equals item, doesn't really help, they're all items. Class equals 178. I am interested in knowing more about what class equals 178 means. I wonder if that's available. I don't think searching for 178 is actually going to be as helpful as I was hoping. 178. Nope. There's a lot of 178s. Okay, I'll deal with that later. Interesting. Agartha still has 500 errors after clearing the cache. Yeah, that's very strange. I mean, it's always possible I have it cached. I guess I could force reload. I did an empty cache and hard reload, and it was okay on my end. So I'm sorry it's not working for you. But yes, definitely I encourage you to grab grab a cache of it in some fashion. I like the downloadable one. I like having everything available in a tree on the left as well as the static pages on the right. I find it feels a little bit easier to move around the API documentation that way. Okay. Aha. Well, that's not very helpful. But the file was item class under enumerations. That's why I was having trouble looking for it. Oh, interesting. And that item 178 is a barter item. Um, for Andres, thank you for that link for the download for the update 25 Lua documentation. Yes, this is almost certainly where I downloaded that from. Looks the same. And Lizardin says, by the way, why do some people play the game through a VPN? Doesn't it make things slower? When you connect through a VPN, when your traffic is going through a VPN, your traffic goes to the VPN, they pass it on to its final destination, they receive the data meant for you, and they pass that data on to you. So in a sense, connecting through a VPN must always take that extra step via connecting directly to where you're connecting to. But VPNs are not very good at their job if they slow down that process a lot. And so generally what happens is your traffic gets there, it gets forwarded on very quickly, and then the traffic comes back, and it comes back to you very quickly. So it will technically increase the amount of time and effort it takes for your traffic to get from one place to another. But if the VPN is doing their job well, it shouldn't increase it by that much. One of the things that makes their life easier is that VPNs tend not to do very much logging of information because the whole point is privacy. So there's a lot less that they have to do if they're not paying attention to things like logging or tracking of data or serving you ads or whatever it is. It's just, get a packet, send a packet, get a packet, send a packet, get a packet, send a packet. So they can be very fast about it. So yes, technically it would make things the same speed or slower in general. However, you could definitely have exceptions to that, where, as For Andreas says, I play through a personal VPN and don't notice the slowdown. Agartha says, some ISPs do stupid blocking and can interfere with LOTRO communication. VPNs are a workaround for that. Yeah, exactly. Where you will probably run into problems is if you choose if you choose a poorly located VPN. So if I choose a VPN that's in the northeast of the United States, somewhere in the Boston area, then my connection to the VPN is going to be almost the same distance and effort as my connection to SSG servers that are located in that area. And so if I were to choose a server in California, then the physical travel time to go to California and then back to the Northeast and back to California and then back to me will add like real milliseconds of travel time. All else being equal, yes, that would be slower. But they tend to be pretty quick. They tend to be not very intrusive in your communication. So if you were thinking about playing with a VPN and were concerned about a slowdown, do some testing. There is an in-game network testing tool that you can use, which I think is stored under connection. So you activate connection status, and then underneath this area where I have placed a window, I have a little thing, and it says my latency is 85 milliseconds, 0% loss. So activate a VPN. That will probably disconnect you from LOTRO, so log back in. And then see if your latency has gone noticeably up or down. A difference of less than 10 milliseconds of latency, I doubt you're going to notice. But if you don't have a reason to do that, either to get around some weird policy that your internet service provider has, or some geolocking restrictions where maybe you're in a country that doesn't let you play LOTRO, and you were trying to bypass one of those, then a VPN has a purpose. But if you don't have a specific purpose for it, the other thing might be you just generally have a VPN active and you just don't bother to turn it off when you're playing LOTRO. That's totally fine. But I wouldn't see a use if you normally do not use a VPN and normally you play LOTRO without any networking issues, then I wouldn't say that there's a reason to use a VPN just for playing LOTRO, but it shouldn't hurt you. But I am very much not a networking expert. I'm a casual user at best. So those are my thoughts on that subject. Andre says, I play through VPN because I am not at home. All my traffic goes through my home VPN, though, so it doesn't matter how I connect to the internet. It's like I was at home. Yeah, you just have whatever the extra delay is between you and your house, which networking equipment isn't perfect, so there's always going to be some extra delay, but really what we're just talking about is the speed of light, give or take, from where you are to your destination. Speed of light times some factor for what medium you're traveling through, fiber optic cables or copper conductors or whatever. But it's generally a pretty zippy signal. Okay, so we have things that are listed as barter items. Is that what goes into the wallet? Is there anything that is a category 178 that doesn't go into there? Well, let's go find out. So if we look for class 178, and we pull that out, and really I don't care about most of this. Do we feel like there are things in this list of 500 items that don't go into the wallet? That's a harder one to answer. But I do see definitely a lot of things that do go into the wallet. Near perfect sapphire, faultless geode. Well, I guess that would be a question, because if everything that is barter ends up in the wallet, we could definitely pre-process this information and kind of pre-sort out categories that we want them to fall into. Even if that's not available in the data files. If it's a conceivable number like 500 items, we could pre-sort that out, and then just anything that's not in that list would dump into uncategorized. Agartha says, bringing up a VPN is often a good troubleshooting step if you have LOTRO connectivity problems. Alternatively, if you run on a laptop, you could also take it to a public Wi-Fi and troubleshoot that way. Yeah, absolutely. If you think there's a networking issue between you and LOTRO, changing your network is definitely a way to play around with that. And so if you, like I said, if you connect to California and you're not normally in California, then you're kind of testing the connection between LOTRO and California at that point, if otherwise your experience with that VPN is pretty positive. Zarda asks, are there currencies for creeps too? I think so, but I am a terminally Free People's player, and so I log into creeps very rarely. But I believe there are probably some wallet items. Fernandez says, which XML are you using? Um, I am using Sublime Text as my basic text editor, so it is rendering XML however it wants to. If you're asking what where the source of this XML was, that's just from the LOTRO Companion desktop application. Hooray! Edgar Arthur was able to download the API reference. Awesome. Yeah, I just stuck that in my downloads. My documents directory. It's just parallel to the Lord of the Rings online, and then it's just super easy. And save a save a bookmark to it. Oh, for underestimate which file? Is it the item XML or some special currency one? This is just item XL. I'm trying to find. I'm trying to decide if I can automate the detection of currency items or not. Well, I'm not going to do this on stream, but that could be one thing I do is just go through every one of the wallet items that I do have and see do they all have category 178? And if so, I might be able to use that to do something meaningful. But the problem is then sorting them into meaningful categories, like taxidermy, like instances and skirmishes, like item advancement. And that might be harder, although that might be something LOTRO Companion has more insight into. So I might poke them and see, hey, what's going on there? Cool. Well, with all this other chatter, we've definitely crossed the 2-hour mark, and I do have some coursework to finish up for class tomorrow. So I think this might be a good place to pause, and next time we will start making changes to this wallet window. Because ultimately what we want to do is be able to, from a list of all the things in your wallet, select which ones... Maybe there'll be a configure wallet window that selects which ones are visible here. I don't know. Either this one, it'll be all in one in this window, or there'll be a wallet configuration window. Right click on here, and I don't know. There'll be something. Is that what you would do? Right click there. Nope. Left click. Yeah. Maybe there'll be a configure, maybe a little gear icon or something to pop it open. And then in that, you would configure which things show up in here and in what order, and be able to add new ones from your wallet. All that's a maybe. There's also a chance, if we can identify the full list of barter items that can show up in here, we could just have a pre-done table that includes the the image ID. And if we have the image ID, then we don't actually care so much about that whole, you can't add it unless it's in your wallet thing. You can add it if it's not in your wallet, you just might not get the right image. Have to think about that. So, now's a good time to get any last minute questions, comments, concerns you have into chat while I meander on this idea. And we'll be ending shortly. Okay. Same window. Okay, so every window that you add in a plugin, if you want it to be well behaved, needs to do things like respond to the F12 button or whatever your show hide HUD button is. Responding to the escape key, save its position so that when you unload and reload, it shows up in the same spot if it's going to do that. So adding another window is non-trivial, and so maybe add a show all button question mark. This would eventually be replaced with a filter section, or just hollow out the window contents and start adding tree items question mark. This might need to wait until we get categories for each item. Yeah. Alright, we have some thoughts. We definitely have some more things we can change, like before we even get into that, where we have two competing, the key and the code for Mythical Coin and MC. Wallet control. This was notes on something. Wallet control was kind of the generic control I wanted to make, and might be worth deleting at this point. But root items. To sort of wallet items together. Currency. Yeah, okay. A lot of those notes have been overcome by events, but we'll deal with that later. Cool. Well, looks like that was all the chat that was going to come on in. And with that, that is everything we're going to cover today. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I do hope to see you here next week, where we continue to dismantle the TitanBar plugin, and until then, keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.